Welcome to Dominate Your Day podcast. This is the podcast that adds value to leaders who want to make a difference in the workplace. We believe each person is unique and has a purpose they can live out every day and make an impact in the world. Here at Dominate Your Day podcast, we hear stories from leaders who have used their unique talents to transform themselves and their companies from the inside out.
Well, hello and welcome to Dominate Your Day. I'm thrilled to have Lucy Liu with us today. Lucy's from LA right now, and I'm in Dallas, and we're talking about the heat and the crazy weather. Lucy also is a coach. She's a life coach. So I thought it'd be kind of fun today for us to have a conversation around confidence and limiting beliefs. And those are two topics that Lucy talks a lot about, right? Is that one of your areas of expertise, Lucy?
Oh my goodness, Dana. Thank you for having me. And I absolutely love, I'm really passionate about confidence because I believe it is the pillar to our life. It is foundation of our house.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. You know, it's funny, Lucy, some other founders and I this year did a study. We worked with a guy from Rice, and we did a study on limiting beliefs for female founders. And we found that confidence was so high up there that the women that were about to make 100,000 and the women that were about to make 1,000,000 had the same low level of confidence. And, you know, it was just a few more zeros, but that was like, oh, I can't get there. I don't think I can make it. So talk to us about how you got into this work about coaching around confidence.
Oh, I absolutely love this topic because there are so many things that we can talk about. But I believe confidence is at the core. For example, we have trainings on resilience. But if we have the confidence to believe that, no matter what happens, what circumstances, what curveballs life throws at us, because life does that, right? We have the ability to seek solutions, to be on the lookout for solutions for our circumstances, then we can get up no matter how many times we fall. And there it is, your resilience muscle, right? So if you want more joy in your life, you have to believe and you have to be confident that you can be a successful woman and still have fun in life because you deserve it. You have the confidence that you can still binge watch Netflix when you want to and still be very successful in your works, because so often women take out the fun in life and then they start talking about, oh, there's no work life balance. It becomes a lot of lives becomes automatic, they're on autopilot, then it becomes not so much fun anymore. It's all about work. So it's really your limiting beliefs, like you talk about, believing how you believe. That makes a world of difference. For example, one of the stories I tell a lot about myself is my own limiting beliefs growing up having the name of Lucy Liu.
It's a
So
great name, by the way.
it is my maiden name, and I actually kept it to remind myself how I can embrace what I already have in my life, how I can embrace my identity. And it is a reminder today for my confidence, but it wasn't always that way. Obviously, it's the name of a celebrity.
Right.
And for many years, probably throughout my entire 20s and 30s, my life was on autopilot. I had low motivation. I mean, even though, yes, my life was deemed successful from society or from my friends and family, it seemed successful on the outside, but I wasn't truly happy on the inside. I didn't feel truly joyful from the inside because I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt I was behind. I
Mm.
felt like I could never be somebody because there is already a Lucy Liu out there, right?
Mm.
So I fell in this comparison trap that oh, and by the way, she's so amazing. I can't even hate her because I
Have you
love
met her
her.
yet? Have you ever met her or talked to her?
No, everyone's like, you should meet her. I'm like, yes,
Yes.
that is one of my goals now to meet her in person. But yes, this limiting belief I had that I will never be somebody. And I feel a lot of women have similar stories. Maybe your story is not obviously not having the same name as a celebrity, but it could be your name is too hard, too easy to, can't pronounce, or anything. If you ever felt less than someone else, right? If you ever felt like you were being compared to, then you can relate to this in how you can show up for yourself, because even the most powerful women can temporarily forget their power and start thinking that, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not blank enough, whatever that word might be for you. But just remember that enough is a decision. It is not an amount, and it is not how it seems, because we have these limiting beliefs. And beside that, my beliefs about my name, I also had another limiting belief growing up, is that my English isn't good enough
Mm,
because I wasn't born in America. I'm the child of immigrants because I'm not Native American. Even though I had straight A's in English class, even though I don't know, when I tell you this, Dana, how do you feel?
mm. Yeah, I think that can be just really disheartening, and I think it can be really frustrating to go day after day and not and have a narrative in your head that you're saying that's not true, but it's something you're telling yourself.
That
See,
is exactly
narrative.
my point.
Yeah,
Whatever's going in your head, we all have these voices that are telling us these little stories, and we hold on to these stories. We start
right.
believing them. Whatever it is that you are telling yourself, we hold on to these beliefs for so long that we start thinking it's true,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
I'm now very consciously, constantly trying to crush all my limiting beliefs. So I tell myself, hey, Lucy, how can we crush this one? Right.
Mhm.
So that's why I started my podcast and just called it the Lucy Liu Show,
Mhm.
because I want to be a standing example of how we can crush all our limiting beliefs and just get out there and do your thing.
So, how did you make the transformation from believing all those limiting beliefs to stop believing? What happened in your life?
That is a good question, because so many women are always waiting around for that epiphany. So
Mhm.
many people think transformation happens when there's a turning point in life. And yes, unfortunately, I've known many women who had a lot of hardships, or had, a sudden emergency health condition or something in your life
Mhm.
that just stops you in your tracks, and then
Right.
you're forced to make a transformation.
Mhm.
But I think for me, it wasn't that way, right? I always felt like I was average Joe, average Jane. So my life didn't have a catastrophic turning point. But I think it was really, now when I look back, the little aha moments, the little lessons I learned along the way, the little journalings I did, it's the little things that added up.
Mhm. Right. That made the change. And so that I think that's a good point, because I think people go, oh, I'm going to go to this weekend retreat and I'm going to be changed into something, or there's something not right. Well, we're always transforming. It's not a one and done. We're always in progress, right? So
Yes,
what what are some of the things that you've learned along your journey that now you're sharing on your podcast or with other clients that you have, that you have found, everybody's got to find what works for them based on their unique talents, but what have you found that worked for you to kind of step by step, drip by drip, make some
yeah,
changes?
absolutely. There are so many ways, there are so many modalities, because people get really confused once they start their personal development journey. They get confused about what should be done. And I feel like there's really no linear path.
Right.
And I believe every guru out there is right in their own ways, right? There's all different modalities. For example, if you want to reduce stress, you can do yoga, you can do breath works, there's sound therapy. There are so many modalities readily available out there, and you have to try them. But you have to find out which modality works for you, right? For example, you start the day being grounded. Well, how do you start? How do you stay grounded? And for me, that's in the form of meditation, right? For you, it might be something else. Some people journal in the morning, others journal in the evening. What happens in between is that these things needs to be done sometime throughout the day. For example, your activity to keep you grounded, your activity to stay to reduce stress, your activities to bring you joy. There's no one way to do certain things, but you have to find your way. And for me, that was gratitude journaling in the evening,
Mhm.
really searching and very consciously seeking for the little gratitudes, like in the smallest things. When you start appreciating life, you see things in a different light and you start seeing opportunities that otherwise don't appear in life. So, of course, I am a course junkie. I take a lot of courses and hire coaches to work with because coaches give you that eagle eye look that you otherwise don't have. And obviously, is to keep your mindset in a different perspective because I believe perspective is everything. There's always different perspectives, just like the pandemic, right? Yes, there's a lot of downfall, but many people transformed or, you know, turned their hobby into a business
Mm.
or left their jobs or even got promoted. All types of golden opportunities are in what we call obstacles in disguise, right? So there's endless possibilities out there, and we have to do the inner work. And when we have the confidence that everything's happening for a reason instead of happening to us, right? That mindset is very different and brings about a different ending to our story, the stories that we tell us.
So there's people out there right now who probably, we know loneliness is huge. We know that connecting with others, sometimes it's just a great default to go get on Netflix and not connect with somebody or get in the proximity of people that are, like you talked about, a coach or somebody that's going to challenge you to be your best self. So I think one of the things that I'm hearing a lot about right now is people just getting themselves out of the rut. And I talked to a friend this weekend who literally had been depressed for 2 years. And I checked in on her every week during COVID and after. And we hadn't talked recently until just this weekend. And I said, "My goodness, Kathy, you sound so good. What are you doing?" She goes, "I don't have a new boyfriend. I don't have a new job. Everything's still the same. I'm just choosing to be happy." And she sounded so good, but it was a journey that she went on. Just like you're saying, it's a journey and it takes time, but I think it's doing the work. So what would you say to that person sitting at home a little down, not knowing, not realizing that they're burnout or they're overwhelmed and they just can't get out of the rut? What would you say to them?
A beautiful question, Dana. You know what? It Seek help.
Mm-hmm.
There is help readily available out there. And I think a lot of people are, have this misconception that you have to be loud in order to be confident. And
Mm.
that's the myth I want to debunk today, that you don't have to be the, bubbly, loud person going around social with everyone in order to be confident.
Yeah.
Like, I can be confident if I choose to. If I go to an event, I choose to. I decide to be confident. But I can be also confident perfectly being alone at home or just being quiet. That doesn't make me less of who I am. So it's not about decibels. It's about like you said, decisions. It's about
Mhm.
the daily decisions that you make. Are you seeking short term gratification, or are you really seeking a long term gratification? So that makes a difference. And you get to choose. You can choose to put Netflix on your calendar if that brings you joy, but you also choose to believe that there is absolutely light at the end of the tunnel, because it might be dark right now, you can't see the exit, right?
Mhm.
It's dark, and we all go through dark tunnels. We are human. As
Yeah,
long as it's normal for life to throw us curveballs. But
absolutely.
now I get excited about curveballs. Like I used to, yes, we have emotions, right? Even though I'm a coach, I still have those days where I'm lower in energy or I feel negative. But because I choose positivity, I choose optimism, I choose confidence. So when I make these decisions, I know everything is only temporary.
Mhm.
So there is absolutely light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what you have to believe in and just start living your life, because this world needs more alive people. If you are living your life in purpose, it shouldn't feel hard. It should feel easy, right? We get burned out when there's too much on our plate. And I believe there is a big difference between overwhelm and overload, because we get overwhelmed when we overthink. We have too much thoughts, so you are stacking thoughts upon thoughts and you're spending hours. Or some of my clients have even told me before that, you know what, Lucy, I just spent an hour yesterday thinking about how I've been overthinking lately. And that is the problem, right? You're
Yeah.
stacking thoughts, you're just overthinking. But overload is when you really realize there's too much in life. And that's when you start to make a list of all the things that you take out in your life. So instead of making to do lists one after another, why not make a not to do list,
Mhm.
right? What are you going to stop doing to get things off your plate so that you have the capacity and energy to add more fun in your life?
I love that. What are you not going to do? And I know we're talking about confidence, we're talking about limiting beliefs. And as we get ready to round out our time here, I'd love to hear a story of one of your clients, or that you shared your story, but what is a story that you've heard of somebody that was able to choose the confidence, choose not to have limited beliefs, somebody that you were able to help, and what are they doing now? I think that's always good to hear.
Mm,
Transformation from here's what this person was doing and here's where they are now. If you
yeah,
have one to share.
absolutely. The first thing that comes to mind is a client who, well, to begin with every client that I work with, the first thing we do together is to draft up a dream calendar, like
Mhm.
what their dream life would look like. So
Mhm.
usually we get in the habit of putting work on our calendars, all the, blocked off hours for calls, for meetings, and you at the end of the day you're looking at your calendar. It's not fun. So one of the first things I work with my client is to fix that by redoing the calendar to have fun first. So we always start with waking up time, bedtime, the three meals, and then the non-negotiables. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to do yoga, everything you want to do should be on your calendar first before you open up your books to book calls. And one of my clients, she was rushed by her client for pushing up something that she needed to finish. And because we worked together, she was able to tell that client that, um, sorry, I had your work blocked off next week on her calendar for a certain time period. And then when she got off the call with the client, she was so scared. She messaged me. She was like, that was so scary, is to
Mm.
say no and
Mhm.
then to stick with my dream calendar, because she could have easily, if we had not worked together, she said, I would have easily opened up my calendar, to switch out and push her work up for a
Mhm.
time when I had for myself, like reading or something.
Right.
And she was really scared to lose the contract or her work project. But in the end, that client really gave her a compliment and like, wow, you are a very responsible person. I trust you more now with my work.
That is great, a great story. And I think what it speaks to is being truthful and being honest and role modeling probably what she's hoping that because we train people how to treat us, right? So if we let people take over our calendar, we're never going to stop that, right? But if we train people and put those boundaries up like she did, but because she had visualized her dream day with you and she had that, she was able to fall back on that. And that probably, even though it was scary, it sounded like it gave her some confidence.
Yes, but see, that comes back to our point of limiting belief, because she
Right.
believed, had had I not made force her to enforce her calendar, she
Mhm.
believed that if she didn't listen to the client to push the date earlier, she would have lost the client. So that
Mhm.
was always her belief, is to please her client. And I think that's another topic for another day, is to people
Yeah,
please. But we often have this belief that we will lose our project or lose our work or, lose ourselves, but really we're just losing ourselves. So that's just another limiting belief to shatter. That's very common in our work days.
I love that. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. Lucy, well, as we get ready to close out, can you share with the audience a little bit about your podcast and how people can reach you if they want to learn more about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very active on social. Any platform you are on social, just look me up and come say hi. I am at MSLucyLiu. That's Miss Lucy Liu everywhere on social. And since you're already on this podcast platform, just hit the search button and look up The Lucy Liu Show. That's again Lucyliu. And it's a weekly short fueling station for your mind, business, and life, where I interview incredible women to up-level your business and up-level your life.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for spending time and sharing your thoughts, your story on building confidence and just getting rid of those limiting beliefs and then now serving others and bringing that value to them. So thank you for bringing so much value now to others and helping them make a change in their life and reminding us that it's not a one and done. It's a drip, drip, drip. It's a constant. So thank you so much for being here with us today. We loved having you.
Thank you again for having me, and to all the beautiful listeners, just remember that more blessings are coming.
Aw, thank you. That's great.
You have been listening to Dominate Your Day podcast. If you're ready to transform your life and workplace from the inside out, go to danawilliamsco.com and set up a discovery call. We would love to connect with you and equip you with some helpful resources. Thank you for listening today, and please take a moment to subscribe to Dominate Your Day wherever you listen.